Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Student of the Game. I am Kyle Nash, the Student of the Game. And listen, if you're here, chances are you like talking sport. We're glad you're doing it here with us. Listen, I know it may be because I'm fresh off of doing the Duval dive with my friend Travis D. Holmes of Big Cat Country. But at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of football going on. So I'm sorry, basketball fans. Sorry, baseball fans. You won't be hearing a whole lot of that from me here. But let me get into this. And I know that it's kosher for retired guys, older guys, former players, in specifically to what I refer, media types, any of that, to be skeptical or critical of their former leagues. We see it all the time at the NBA. Oh, well, back in the day, a lot of these players couldn't handle all the physicality. Okay, that's a separate conversation. We'll get into that more in the October, November area when we're evaluating the NBA there, right? But in specific, this past weekend, people were all like, oh, quarterback play was so bad. Here's the thing. I don't get why anybody's surprised. Let's be clear. Thursday night's NFL League opening game for 2024 was precisely amazing. Decided by a toe and by a fingertip. We'll get into that later if you do understand what I mean, but everybody seems to forget that the half league going into the half, a Chiefs player tipping a ball that was a sure touchdown otherwise was a deciding factor in that game as well. Everybody seems to have forgotten a lot of things. The national media seem to have forgotten in evaluating basic football, but hey, that's why you're here listening to me, to help learn what's right, which I try to do as a student of the game every week. But here's the thing. Why are we surprised that bagged quarterback play is a dominant concept that everybody's talking about? How many quarterbacks were taken in this most recent draft again? Quite a few, right? You remember? I mean, we're going down all the way down to Bo Nix over there with the Broncos and that pick. Whole lot of quarterbacks taken, and not all of them even played this weekend. And maybe they should have. Am I right, Falcons? Anyways, so with all that being said, if there's that many quarterback draftees and you're wondering why there's poor quarterback play, I think that's a you problem. By the way, there's other teams out there who were dragged into arm races within their division to get a quarterback and to do it quickly. Well, hey, at the end of the day, maybe the mayonnaise Messiah wasn't who was cut out to be. Shouts to Mike Patton. That's just one example. There was a whole lot of poor quarterback play. I think a lot of it is just we're in that standard, that area, that transitional period of the NFL. Listen, the Tom Brady's are gone. The Peyton Mannings are gone and have been for a minute. Pretty soon, Aaron Charles Rodgers is going to be on his way out. Older guys, somehow or another, older guys, by the way, being believed to still be guys that could play up into their 36 and 40s. I have no idea what you're expecting from a guy that's older than 32 to do at quarterback, or 31 for that matter. I mean, I would cite Russell Carrington Wilson, but he couldn't even start for the Steelers over Justin Fields. Still managed to win the football game over another old man starting in Kirk Cousins. How's that going? Maybe we've just miscued our expectations of quarterbacks, especially in a world where now they're expected to have physical tools as well. I know everybody's seen the highlight of Anthony Richardson slinging that 60-yard touchdown to Pierce, right? Sure, he still lost the game by 2 points, but that was against the mighty, mighty Texans, right? CJ Stroud is a god, allegedly, even though he's like, 22 or something? I don't know. I didn't check his age, but the point is he's not in his 30s. So all the people talking about quarterback play in a world where offensive line play, by the way, is also declining because you don't have as many full contact practices, because the only way you can learn and be a lineman is with physical contact and padding up and hitting with other guys. I wonder if the NFLPA will ever be smart enough to set a separate set of rules for practice for the offensive line from quote unquote skill players. I hate that slur, by the way. I think that would be a good idea, and it might even increase the quality of the quarterback play that you're so desperate to improve based on this past weekend. But can we please remember it's week 1 and you keep taking preseason games away? Hell, you're talking about going to 2 preseason games and having an 18-game season. You think this week 1 quarterback play is bad? Oh, man. In the words of the Clarence Clearwater Revival, you ain't seen nothing yet. Boom, bow, bow, right? So, folks, this is the bleeding edge. This is where it's at. And I'm not even getting into absolute tragedies like Jordan Love getting hurt over there in Brazil. Folks, understand this. At this point, the only practical way for the NFL to grow is internationally. International games are not going away. It's like demanding NIL and the transfer portal go away in college. That's not going to happen. Anyways, looking at the comments here. Shouts to my guy, Mickey. What's going on, Mick? Good to see you in here. Always a good thing. And checking out Pratik Patel. What is the niece slapper? Well, both Sean and Jim are not here tonight. This is my show. They can come on if they'd like to, but they're probably busy doing other things like, I don't know, preparing for 3 Count Thursday. Come on, Bell. There we go. So, yeah, look out for them. They're here. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or anything, drop those in the comments here while we're here. But let me get into this. While we're talking, see, here's what drives me absolutely insane, folks. We had the Thursday night opener that was amazing. Ended up being essentially a one-toe game. You know, everybody's said it ad nauseum around one score game this close from coming down to a 2-point conversion to deciding it, because the Ravens would I have a okay, hold on. Mickey says, get a real bell. Happy fool? What you talking about, Mickey? Come on now. You need to comment cop yourself if you're going to say something silly like that. Anyways, shout out to Mickey Delaney for being in the comments at all times. Anyways, so the game was decided by a score, but all I hear is how Lamar Demetrius Jackson failed his team with his quarterback play. Now, if I were to ask you which quarterback threw the ball 41 times, between him and Patrick LaVon Mahomes II, you would be shocked to hear it was Lamar Demetrius Jackson. And yet all we hear is he ran the ball too much. 16 carries, 122 yards. Fascinating stuff, right? Moreover, everybody talks about, well, he had an opportunity to win the game, but he missed Zay Jones at the end. Or, Zay Flowers, sorry. Zay Jones is in Arizona now. Here's the thing. I won't get into people obviously ignoring the fact that he's running for his life with two backup guards playing for guys who are hurt and still finding a way to even get the damn pass off with Chris Jones. Chris Jones, people, okay? Arguably now the most underrated player in the league because you fools refuse to acknowledge he exists. I get it. He lives in a world across from Patrick LaVon Mahomes II and Travis Michael Kelce. You see nothing else. Okay? My advice, stop that. You're missing some quality defensive line play. But even with all that bearing down on him, he loses a throw in the back of the end zone to where if Zay Flowers sees what he's doing, he'll make that play. That's just impossible with that kind of communication. But my question is this, America. If Isaiah catches that pass in the back of the end zone, it's likely we aren't even talking about this. By the way, those are listening on the podcast, I'm putting my pinky to my mouth to do Dr. Evil style to deliver the pun in what I did there, because making a dad joke is the only way I could keep myself from being angry at the stupid that's out there in the national media continuing to cut down Lamar Demetrius Jackson at all costs. And I'm not a Ravens fan. Hell, I just think the Niners still got shafted against them ahead of in the Harbaugh Bowl there with what was going on. Nobody wants to talk about Michael Crabtree getting grabbed in the end zone by Jimmy Smith. Anyways, old news. So with all that in mind, Lamar Demetrius Jackson getting criticized the way he did was absolutely nuts. Might be the biggest crime of the past weekend. I don't know. Oh, wait. Maybe the biggest crime isn't that, but the fraud conning, getting whooped by the Steelers 18-10. Here I am picking the Falcons to go over 11 wins, and they do that in that game. Guilty of fraud of the highest order. Here come the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not going to make a Notre Dame joke here. I don't want to kick people while they're down, but yeah. Shouts to Northern Illinois. Anyway. So yeah, I don't really get the part where people are critical of Lamar Demetrius Jackson, but I'll say this, the other things that jump off to me in this past weekend's docket is the people that tried to tell me that the Titans were going to be dangerous. Hell, I went on the Let's Be Real network and somebody tried to tell me the Titans were going to win the division. After the way you lost to the Bears, you want to run that by me again? I get it. You gotta cheer for your squad, maybe, or and granted, the AFC South is a dogfight. We're one game in, and who knows, we're an injury away from the complete fate of that division or any division being decided. But to consider the fact that the Bears failed to score an offensive touchdown, I feel like I can't be reading that right. They have 24 points. How, in fact, did they fail to score an offensive touchdown and you still lose, Titans fans? You people keep telling me I'm so down on your team. Hey, listen, I picked you for 8 wins, and right now I'm not feeling so confident. I mean, I get it. Not everybody returns a blocked punt for 21 yards for a touchdown. Shouts to Jonathan Owens for doing that. But what the mayonnaise Messiah did to take you out of the football game, and what you did to take yourselves out of the football game for not scoring from the final, let me do the math here. Good God. It's 30, I'll call it 4 minutes. It's kind of embarrassing, Titans. This is why people don't believe in you. What about this receiver core? What about you not needing Derrick Henry? What about your upgraded offensive line? What about this defense that was supposed to be so great? And granted, no offensive touchdowns. Maybe they did do their job. Shouts to my dude, Jeffrey Simmons, in the middle of that line, who's a great defensive tackle, by the way. And yet, with all those weapons, you only score 17 points. That's adorable. Give me something more. I know it's only week 1, Titans fans, but I'm not believing, and you're giving me no reason whatsoever to do so. It's really just that simple. All you have to do is, I'm not going to be as, I'm not going to finish that sentence. I'll leave it at that. I'm just being more snarky than I am being analyst, and I don't want to do that yet. It's only week 1, like I said. Packers fans, listen, I mock you enough about your playoff performance. You had to go and get Jordan Love hurt in Brazil. That sucks. I don't think Malik Willis is going to do particularly great. And anybody who's talking about Jordan Love starting, please don't believe them. Just stop it. I think we'll leave that at that. Let's see. The Bills struggling against the Cardinals. That's kind of what I expect the Bills to be. They'll sneak by and win. Let's see when they get hotter as the season goes on. The Texans beating the Colts close. Kind of what I expected to happen. See, the Dolphins over the Jaguars. I picked the Dolphins to win on the Duval Dive podcast. I didn't expect it to be 2017. We'll see more on that later. The Panthers are still bad. I didn't realize they were 47-10 to the Saints bad, but I knew they were bad. And then we go to this particular specimen. Oh my goodness gracious. Here come the Vikings, shouting out to the Giants.
You're my boy, Blue!
Wow, I knew Daniel Jones and company were bad, but they're really bad. Mickey Delaney points out the Hawks won. Listen, I will. Here's the thing. I'm glad you bring up the Seahawks because they're a very confusing team to me. I'm not impressed by the Broncos yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Give me a little bit more time to buy in on your Seahawks there, Mickey, is what I'm saying. The Cowboys won big. If you're a Cowboy fan like EJ Christian and my friends on Huddle Up Podcast, for the most part, that aren't named Sean or Matt, or Mikey Byrne, that's great and all. But I tried to tell you people about Deshaun Watson being somebody who didn't have it anymore 2 years ago after seeing him in a preseason game in Everbank. He can't be the villain. He doesn't even fathom he's the villain. He makes it sound like. Anyways, I'm going to say that Jayden Daniels had the best rookie outing among quarterback rookies in the NFL. Sure, the Commanders lost the game. But listen, this guy's playing against Vita Vea and a pretty good defense, put up 20 points. Fortunately, Baker Mayfield had 4 touchdowns thrown that game. So, yeah, not great, Bob. Jayden Daniels also leading the Commanders in rushing with 2 touchdowns. Isn't my favorite thing, but I'm glad they did it. What a game on Sunday night with the Rams and the Lions, I'll be honest. Here's the thing about the Rams, and I know everybody's pretty high on them. I'm not. And it's for the same reason I'm not high on the Colts. But Kyle, you said the Colts are a good football team. And you're right, I did. Here's the thing, folks. Somebody tell me how long. By the way, Puka Nacua already hurt. I'm sure he's due to come back relatively soon. But somebody tell me when you think that John Matthew Stafford is going to actually, last, or how long he'll last, rather. I'll put the over under at 8.5 games. What do you got? Right? For me, it's the under. If it is the over, then you would need it to be at least 10 games to make the playoffs, right? I don't know that he can do that. I hope he can. It'd make for a very interesting postseason if he does. I'm happy to be wrong. But, yeah. That works for me. And, of course, on Monday night, listen, Christian McCaffrey missing and the Niners still doing what they did to the Jets. Listen, folks, okay, I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. Not about Jordan Mason. That's all great. 28 carries for 147 yards. Good God. The Jets aren't an elite football team. They're just not. I get it. Aaron Rodgers has had other weeks, other seasons even, where he's come out in game 1 and been battered senseless and then comes out and goes to work. Maybe that still happens. All right? I mean, I'll grant he plays in the AFC East. There's a couple weak teams in there he might battle in the form of the Bills and the Patriots. I said it, Bills fans, deal with it. And he comes out, I mentioned here's his next 2 games in Tennessee and Nashville, and then, of course, the Pats, the Broncos, the Vikings. The Jets could very well go 4-1 before heading to host the Bills. And then the Steelers after that. What an easy. Then the Patriots again? They don't play a hard team until like Halloween. What the entire hell? Still, nonetheless, y'all want to try to tell me the Jets are a Super Bowl team? Cool. Love it. Anyways. So, yeah, I just come with some of the loose things I see out there around the league right now. And that I hate to come out by just griping about the silly takes that are out there. But my thing is, guys, there's so many of them. And I have to try to keep some sort of voice of reason, okay? Especially when I come out every week and listen to Ernest Christian and his craziness all the time on the Student of the Game Report on the Earnestly Speaking podcast, as well as Huddle Up Inc. I got to do something for my own sanity. Maybe that's what this is for. The Student of the Game podcast is for me to actually realize what I've learned, the truth in all the craziness that's out there in the media, which I guess technically speaking, Ernest Christian is. I don't know. Shouts to my guy, Ernest Christian. By the way, shouts to my guy, Danny Thompson, who works for ESPN. What's up with your Falcons? Anyway. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and jump over to it. It's going to be a shorter episode this week. What can I say? But we'll go ahead and jump in and we will do our NFL picks for the week. Along with Big Jim Neese. But the listen, the Saints wallop the Panthers, but the Cowboys aren't the Panthers. I have the Cowboys at home. Tampa versus Detroit. This is actually a compelling football game to me, and the reason why is because it's not only a playoff rematch, but one could argue that um, Daniels gets his first win. That's how bad I think the Giants are. They're gonna take this one. It'll be solid. I know that with that in mind, folks, like I said, this would be a shorter edition this week. Just wanted to go through the NFL action with all of you for week one. And on that note, let's go ahead and wrap it up. So for Mickey Delaney and everybody else in the comments, thank you for jumping in. I had fun doing the thing with you here. And until next time, everyone, class dismissed.